Yeah, I'm Forrest Poston, sometimes known as the crazy old man with the cats. This is West Virginia football going deep, and this is the second take for this video since at what I thought was the end of the previous video, I discovered Bianca had managed to turn off the camera. So, and I was so happy that when she stepped on the keyboard, she hadn't seemed to do anything. Well. Talking about Neal Brown's appearance on Three Guys Before the Game. Before I get to, and particularly, he talked a good bit about Garrett Greene, which I'm sure is the thing you guys are going to be interested in mostly. I will get to that. First, I am going to be a grumpy old man for a few moments, if you'll bear with me. It's still about West Virginia football. The media has started to get up on the West Virginia team for 2024. It's especially the West Virginia media right now. National media is saying better things than they were. Still getting screwed in other parts of the media, and that's okay. That's we'll deal with that. But even while people are saying things are going to be good in 2024, they are still talking about how surprising 2023 was. And how, nobody expected the team to be that good. Nobody expected 9 wins. That was Mountaineers Now again a couple of days ago talking about that. And I'm getting pretty dang sick of it because those of you who've been around since I started this channel or who saw me commenting on other channels before that know that I was high on the 2023 team from spring onward. I was saying floor was 7 wins, ceiling was 9 wins, and that did not count the bowl season. And as far as I'm concerned, there was nothing surprising about the 2023 season except that they didn't win 2 more games. And that was because of injuries, especially Lathan. So I wish the media would recognize that it wasn't that the team was surprising. It was the media was blind, including West Virginia media. And I wish they would start paying attention. I mean, I know that I'm just a little channel with 321 subscribers and going nowhere in a hurry. But there were others out there commenting on channels and saying the team was going to be good. And some of the media people were saying going to be good, then going to be bad. But, they were up and down, back and forth. But they were at least at times saying the team was going to be good. And dang it, it was pretty clear that they would be good if you quit paying attention to the national media and looked closer at the team. So I'm going to, I was going to say stand up here, but no, I'm going to sit here and tell you I was right. And I kind of like some freaking credit for it. Now, one bit of housekeeping begging before I get to the gist of the story. Please remember to click the subscribe button, the thumbs up button, make comments, click share and tell your friends, because that is what tells the Facebook or the YouTube algorithm or Facebook or any of the others for that matter to show this to more people and maybe get me another subscriber or 2. I need about 700. So, 700 more. Okay, now, 3 guys before the game. Program is a little over an hour. Neal Brown was there the whole time. I did not get into a lot of specifics on most things because right now the coaches can't do much in the way of coaching. So they're not real involved with the players in any precise way, which is not to say they aren't busy. Now, one thing, Brown spent a lot of time talking about basketball, especially Coach Eilert. If you are a basketball fan, you really should watch it. It was some good stuff. And I will, as soon as I remember, put the link in there for you to go watch as much of the interview as you choose. One of the things he talked about, involved the contract, of course, not details or anything. But where we have mostly talked about, the money that Brown is taking out of his contract, going to help, increase pay for assistant coaches. Brown talked more about staff, support staff, particularly since the number of support staff necessary has grown, and the number of support staff that West Virginia has added in order to differentiate themselves, and that's, I think, the word he used, has grown. They have 2 nutritionists, a chef, and a sports psychologist on campus. That's in addition to, the conditioning program, recovering program, and all of the usual things. And since most of the schools that West Virginia competes against in recruiting are going to have good coaches, good facilities, you have to find other ways to differentiate yourself. So if you can offer better opportunities to develop in terms of football and in terms of beyond football, you have a better chance. There are details and additional things that you can do, and not just try to keep, how do you distinguish yourself in the ways that everybody is alike? You don't. So you look for other ways. And I think that is paying off and will continue to pay off more and more. With some of the rooms, not so much specific players, defensive backs and wide receivers are, both rooms, he said, are working harder and better than any time since he got there. Credited Beanie Bishop with a lot of the improvement in the defensive back room, having somebody who set a standard, and even when he leaves, the standard remains. And you have other guys who, pick up the banner and carry it. Interestingly, in the wide receiver room, the guys that he chose to point out are not starters or big players. But Malashevitz, Cole, and Tyler Evans, who, Evans we haven't really heard about much at all. But, these are guys who set standards for work and behavior, both of which matter. So, building a team involves a lot of different things, and it has come together. It is improving. And of course, improvement has always been, that's one of Brown's standard points. It's not about how good you are, it's about whether or not you're improving. So that's the focus for spring camp. Continuing the momentum they built from last year, improving. And with that, kind of segue into Garrett Greene, because, he thinks Garrett Greene is a top player and at the same time has the potential to be one of the most improved players this year, partly depending on him. As he said, he is asking Greene to take personal responsibility for more of his development, which is, Greene is a hard worker. He's always been a hard worker, understands the need for it. But last season, they continued to identify areas where Greene needed to correct some of the, mechanics, but you can't change too much of that during the season or you just screw things up. So as soon as the season's over, you start working on that, but you can't work much with the coaches. So players have to take that on themselves to do it enough, and to do it well. And along those lines, Greene is actually working with a company called Quarterbacks America. So he's now getting some of the kind of attention that top quarterbacks in high school would have been going after. So, but it's a good time for him because, things have been narrowed down in terms of what he needs. And this should allow him to correct those issues, which are sort of a group of minor mechanics and attitude issues that he has to get into muscle memory. And Brown said, hey, he said, look at Bo Nix. Nix was at one point with a completion rate in the 50s, then went up to 73, and he thinks Greene can make the same sort of step. Now, I want you to imagine Garrett Greene, as well as he played last year. And of course, his one flaw last year was completion rate, particularly on short and intermediate passes. Imagine Garrett Greene running as well, throwing the deep ball as well or better, and throwing the short and intermediate passes well. That could make Greene one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country. And, Brown said, he said, hey, Greene's going to play pro ball. Where, and I think he meant particularly position, is up to Garrett Greene. Will he go to the pros as a quarterback? Now, 2 years ago, I would have said he didn't have a chance. And one point, I was saying he probably should switch to receiver. So were a lot of other people. Greene and Brown were not among them. And now, okay, he's not tall, he's not big. But he has the ability to compensate for those things. And I think he has the possibility of being a pro quarterback. Will he? I don't know. But I think the possibility is there. And that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out through the season. Brown also, he was talking a lot, too, about the personal relationship with Greene. And, of course, we have all of the people who, every time the opportunity comes, they say Brown hates Greene. If he does anything but praise Greene, they think he hates Greene. And one of the things he likes about Garrett Greene is that he can take criticism. He doesn't have to have his ego stroked constantly. Garrett Greene is confident enough that you don't have to build his confidence. And pointing out a need for improvement isn't going to shake his confidence. It's only going to build his determination. And, Brown has known Greene since Greene was 15 years old. That's been a while. He started recruiting Greene when Brown was coaching at Troy. And Brown said, I truly love this kid. I don't think he can be any clearer than that. And Neal Brown is not known for saying things just to make fans feel good. So when he says he loves Garrett Greene, he loves Garrett Greene. Those two are a great coach-player match. And I think we're going to see the benefits of that relationship more than ever this year. And now he said he said that Greene has changed him as much as he's changed Greene. And in that regard, they're at the point now where Brown will say, hey, do this. And Greene says, I can do it better this way. Brown's reaction is, show me. If it does work better for Greene that way, that's how they do it. And of course, how each player can do the same thing differently to fit their particular abilities. Trying to make everybody do the same thing the same way in just about any field is documented as being a bad method. Now, of course, that's the way some people still do it. And when asked, hey, 5 years ago, would you have said that? Brown said no. He would have said, just do it the way I said. This is also an indication that, Brown has gotten into more of a comfort zone as a coach. And that allows you to give, players a little more leeway to at least try things. And if it doesn't work, then you find, a different way. Let's see. Seems like there was something else there, and then I kind of went right by it. Nico Marchiol. Brown also said Garrett Greene is a great teammate. Of course, we know about his leadership skills, and we've seen him as a great teammate. He and Marchiol work very well together. They've been very good for each other. And he said there will come a time somewhere in 2024, for some reason, when Marchiol needs to be the guy who wins a game for West Virginia. He will do it. Whereas last year he managed the games well. He did not lose games. He will win games. He will be the guy who steps up. And of course, then 2025 Marchiol will, barring any strange occurrence, be the guy who takes over the team and wins games. And that's having two quarterbacks with that much patience in this time is exceptional. I know Brown has recruited for that type of player, but he's gotten that type of player. And if we can establish that as a pattern, especially among quarterbacks where you are willing to take a couple of years, even 3 years, to develop and then take your turn, that could mean very, very good things long term for the program, where you are not having a big year, a so-so year, an off year, then a big year, but where you're having consistently good years and, competing for the championship game conference most years, if not every year, and winning it, a reasonable amount. And that's what Brown has been going for. Not mediocrity. Nobody has ever believed that the team is good enough. It has simply been, this is what we have to do to build a program. Not a year, not a big season, a program, a big program. All right. Obviously, I have high hopes for the team, for the season, for the program, for 2025. And I hope to be here for 2025. So thanks for dropping in. It is now, I think 17 days until spring camp starts. Be lots of good things to talk about then. Hopefully not too many bad things that we have to talk about. But we are getting closer and closer. So thanks for dropping by, and I'll see you all later.